So before we dive into example 6 and 7 here, we have area and volume described up here, and I won't read this through, but area is the space that's taken up if you were to like paint this square. It's how much space is inside the square. And then volume deals with 3 dimensions. It's if you were to fill a box with paint, how much paint would fill the box. So we have these 2 formulas. Area for a square, if S is the side, is S times S, which is S squared. And then volume involves all 3 dimensions. So with volume, you have the side, length times width times height, or S times S times S, which is S cubed. Okay, and then when you read word problems, read them first, read them carefully, mark up the problem as much as you can. So each side of a square garden measures 12 feet. And so any number is probably important. You're going to buy fertilizer for the garden before you begin planting, and you need to determine the area. Write an expression that represents the area and find the area. Okay, and this says be sure to label correctly, as labels are important. Okay, so let's look at some variables. So each side of a square garden measures 12 feet. Okay, so let's let S be the side length. And if you want to write of garden, you can as well. And we know that area, because what we're looking for is write an expression that represents the area. We know area, just from the formula above, is S squared. And so for this particular garden, we know the side is 12. So my area is 12 squared. And that's pretty good for an expression. And then to find the area, you just do 12 times 12, and it is 144 square feet. Okay, and 144 square feet. Well, what does that mean? That's kind of hard to visualize. So what you could do is if you go like outside in your driveway or in your yard, and if you take it's 12, usually like typically if you take kind of a big step, that's about 3 feet. That's about a yard. So if you start one spot, and if you walked, and you can do this, like go outside, do it. It's probably a nice day, or put a coat on if it's not, right? If you walk 4 steps this way, and then turn 90 degrees and walk 4 steps the other way, then you would have, and if you think about that box, that's 12 square feet, about 144 square feet. So I would encourage you to do that anytime you can visualize like what numbers mean. I think it's helpful. And you could probably even do that in your room if you have like a big enough living room or whatever. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Number 7. You have a box that measures, so a box that implies it's 3-dimensional, right? Like there's a length, width, and a height. And it measures 2 feet on each side. So 2 feet, 2 feet. Anytime you can draw a picture, that's pretty good too with word problems. We want to write, typo there, an expression that represents the volume of the box and find the volume. Be sure to label it correctly. So we know volume is length times width times height. Let's make S the length of the edge. Length of the edge. And volume would be S times S times S, because on a box, it says each edge is 2 feet. And so they're all the same. And so that is 2 cubed, which is 8 cubic feet. Or you could write it 8 feet cubed. And once again, that's kind of hard to visualize, especially like cubic feet is really hard to visualize and picture in your head. So what you could do is find a box in your house, measure it, find the volume, and that'll give you an idea of your, like, what does a cubic feet mean, or cubic foot mean, or what does 8 cubic feet mean. But I would encourage you to do that. As always, if you have questions, please let me know.